Hey guys, First Regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about Weekly Hard Stratagem number 21 in Space Marine 2. Now, this week is actually pretty easy. We have this mission here on Ballistic Engine. With the battlefield conditions, come prepared. No Medicaid stims are available, but every squad member starts the mission with 10 stims. This one is actually super easy. Come prepared makes it so you have 30 stims total for your entire team. That is a ridiculous amount of healing, but you do have to keep in mind that this one has other modifiers that will impact this a little bit. The next modifier we have is Unshaken. You will not lose control from heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This perk effect is already top tier for a regular perk effect, but as a battlefield condition, it's just a straight upside. Next, we have Atrophy. You can't die by being incapacitated, but every incapacitation will decrease your maximum health by 25%, limited to 10% of its original value. Now, this one's really not that bad, but you should be careful to not go down because limiting your total HP can definitely kill newer players. And overall, Atrophy also has a bug where you will just instantaneously die sometimes. So keep that in mind. Definitely use those 10 stims to keep yourself topped off with that. And for the most part, Atrophy shouldn't impact you a lot, but if it does, make sure that you don't go down again because you might just pop. Next, we have Corrosion. Damage received is continuously increased with mission duration up to a limit. I have never seen Corrosion do significant damage to my team. Usually the missions in this game don't last that long. Do keep Corrosion in mind and try to finish the mission as fast as possible. That's pretty much all there is for the battlefield conditions here. Let's talk about some actual builds. Now, as far as our build selection is concerned, we have quite a few options. Melee classes this week definitely benefit from the battlefield condition Unshaken. You will have no knockback fundamentally, which means that you don't have to take perks like Merciless Resolve or Armored Advance because they can be a bit redundant. But the first build I really want to talk about here is, of course, Tactical. Tactical is the premier support class in Space Marine 2. For newer players, plopping this guy on a team to nuke bosses can help you out a ton, and to accomplish that, we actually have quite a few options here as well. So first up, I'm going to be talking about the Precise Calibration Concentrated Fire combo again. This is the ultimate Auspex combo and boss nuke enabler in the entire game. Precise Calibration reads, enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 75% damage, but your Auspex scan's radius is reduced by 25%. When we take this perk and combine it with the perk over here, Concentrated Fire, Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by your Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. You will have a 195% damage buff on your Auspex. That is a ridiculous damage enabler for your entire team. You can absolutely annihilate bosses, and to take this even further, you could just go full Plasma on this build. You could take a Plasma Incinerator if you wanted to, but I'll just talk about the Plasma Pistol because rate of fire Plasma Pistol has like one of the highest DPS in the entire game right now, because the rate of fire here does affect the charge rate of your secondary, and the Tactical has the perk here, Plasma Boost. When plasma weapons are 30% overheated, their damage increases by 40% and their charge shots use 1 less energy. This perk absolutely carries the Plasma Incinerator and Plasma Pistol on this class, less so the Plasma Pistol, but definitely your primary. And we combine this on top of things like Versatility or the perk here, Relentless Pursuit. This one says after a gunstrike, range damage increases by 25% for 10 seconds, and this one is a flat 25% bonus while you swap to your Plasma Pistol. You will do a ridiculous amount of damage, and if you want to take this even further, you can even pick up the perk here, Steady Aim. Weapon spread and recoil are reduced by 20%, and range damage against terminal enemies is increased by 15%. This will make your Plasma Pistol and Plasma Rifle hit like an absolute truck, especially on top of things like Aligned Aim for even more range damage bonus. Because the way the Plasma Pistol works in this game is that it will reach the charge... Because the way the Plasma Boost works with having your weapon be 30% overheated to actually take effect, the rate of fire of Plasma Pistol reaches this so damn quickly that being able to pull off that damage bonus is just super easy, and being able to just plop down a Precise Calibration Concentrated Fire Auspex and then immediately charge rate fire them with your secondary is just a really efficient way of nuking a boss. Now, Relentless Pursuit is obviously the better perk over Versatility if you're trying to do damage overall for your build, because this will affect both your secondary and your primary plasma gun, but today we don't have to take Heightened Vigor at all because the no knockback from this is not mandatory whatsoever, because we do have that Unshaken battlefield condition already, so pretty good options there. Now I will say for team perk selection, Secure Stockpile is absolutely bonkers in this game. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all team members, the cooldown is 60 seconds. This is a god tier perk for a pretty damn good reason, because 60-second melta bombs will just solve any encounter for you in the game pretty much if you properly place them, and even shock grenades, frag grenades, and cracks are incredible on a 60-second cooldown. Equipment in Space Marine 2 is one of the strongest effects in the entire game, and a perk like this has been god tier since it got reworked. Now, as far as your signature perk is concerned, I would just take a Radiating Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area effect damage in a 10-meter radius. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk overperforms all the damn time. It is by far the best signature perk for tactical, and it's not even close compared to things like Signal Jammer and Marked for Death. Just take this one, it is significantly better. And as far as your prestige perks go, Skill Supplier is a great option for your secondary plasma, because this is one of the only perks in the entire game that will up the ammo reserves of your secondary, not just your primary. Acuity only does things for you if you have a headshot multiplier, which actually does trigger off things like the Fire Blaster. And the most mandatory perks here, of course, Resilience and Fortitude. Fortitude especially being the most important, because health increases in Space Marine 2 are just that damn strong. Now, for your primary, you could really just take whatever you want on this. Your Plasma Pistol will do the most damage anyways compared to the Plasma Incinerator. If you want to go full Plasma, I would take the Rate of Fire variant of the Plasma Incinerator, mainly because this weapon's charge rate is god-awful. It seriously needs a buff, so I would just build it this way for charge rate with things like Perpetual Velocity, because if you don't have these perks, if you don't have the Rate of Fire variant of the Plasma Incinerator, you do get kind of cooked a little bit on that charge time. It definitely does suck. And some other options here could always be the Ranged Melter Rifle. I would take Emperor's Vengeance with this if you do pick this one up. The ranged variant of the Melter Rifle does a lot of damage with great reach, really fun to use weapon, and really easy to use on tactical, because you get a source of HP healing with rapid health on top of armor restore with trick shot, so really good catch-all there. Some other options would of course be Stalker Bolt Rifles, Heavy Bolt Rifles. We are fighting Tyranids today, and of course the Pyre Blaster, and really any weapon with a headshot multiplier performs incredibly well versus Tyranids, and this one is no different, so you could really use whatever you want. But if you want to have more build options for the tactical than this, I will put a link to those in the info card up here. Now, the next build here is one of the strongest builds for the Bulwark and the game in general for hard stratagems. This is pretty much what I would call the AFK build. The Block Power Fist is a ridiculously potent tool, but to be honest, you could take whatever Power Fist you want. That's a powerful option. These are the Heroic Power Fists, are also great and very defensive for things like armor reinforcement. But the main crux of this build is that we just stack pure damage reduction. You take Conviction, you take Scramble Targeting, you take Steel Within. These give you ludicrous amounts of damage reduction, especially with your 30% increased starting HP. Then we also pick up things like Focus Restoration for more armor restore every 30 seconds for our entire team, or Advanced Conditioning to make your CHP fade more slowly, because usually for newer players, losing your CHP is one of the hardest things to actually maintain in this game, and this does help them out a ton. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies within its area of effect. This perk overperforms all the time. It's pretty much like a shock grenade around your banner every single time you use this. Really good synergy with any single banner build at all, even Invigorating Icon with that 50% increase CDR, but still, this is a pretty damn good option. I pretty much always pick this up. Next perk here is of course Invigorating Icon. When the banner is activated, all team members regain maximum contested health, but recharges 50% slower. This perk is godly if you're trying to help out your teammates, if you're just trying to maintain HP even with those 30 stims on this mission across your entire team. This one is just godlike. Invigorating Icon is an amazing perk even with the 50% slower recharge. This is like hardly a nerf at all, because Bulwark is just that guy, and getting full HP off a banner is just the best perk effect you could ask for like 99% of players. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%, and you will not lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now, this week, you could skip over this. We really don't need the no knockback because we have Unshaken. You could take Inspiration. You could take Rejuvenating Effect. This one will revive all of your team members that are down when the banner is activated, but to be honest, you don't want to go down in this mission anyways because of that Atrophy Battlefield condition. But if you want to pick this up, you still can. Personally, I would choose between these two. Next one here is Defensive Mastery. A perfect time parry or block instantaneously incapacitates a Majoris or strength level enemy. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is incredible. Removing an Extremis with a 90-second cooldown will just save your life sometimes. Super underrated and super valuable. Now, for prestige perks, you really take whatever you want, but I would definitely pick up Overcharge, Resilience, Powerful Shot, and Masterful Defense. These are pretty damn powerful combos here. But if you want to pick up Auxiliary Reload or even Standard Bearer, you definitely can. And Bold and Stand could probably use a buff or a rework, but hopefully one day take a look at this. But for now, that is what I would pick. Now, as far as our weapon selection goes, outside the melee weapon, you could really just take the rate of fire plasma pistol. Again, is still top tier on this class, or you could take the heroic heavy bolt pistol, because the heroic heavy bolt pistol is also an incredible option. The heroic perk effect here is called No Help is Coming. Shooting enemy with frame stats effects stops from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in one shot. This weapon will just one-shot hard strat Majoris all the time, and the way that Majoris work, that are calling reinforcements in absolute difficulty and above, which includes hard stratagems, means that when you interrupt their call, they will go enraged immediately. So being able to stop that full heal, one-shot them, and stop the reinforcement call is super damn valuable. Now, that's pretty much all there is for this Bulwark build here. But if you want more info on builds like this, I'll put an info card up to other Bulwark builds over here. Now, as far as the Heavy is concerned and other options, you can really take whatever you want, guys. I mean, Heavy is a very strong class. All classes are going to perform pretty well on this one because there's nothing like severely limiting the other class options in this game, but I would say Heavy is probably the overall strongest in this comp or Assault. Assault does a ludicrous amount of Horde clear versus Tyranids especially, and Chaos these days, and Thunderhammer has the highest cleave for your ground pound of any weapon. And what I mean by that is the Thunderhammer can hit more enemies and actually damage them with a ground pound than any other weapon in Space Marine 2. The cleave of this weapon is 100 versus the 15 of all the other options. So keep that in mind if you're trying to do a ground pound build, and the way I would set up the perk tree is like this here, or I would take armor reinforcement if you want to have a bit of an easier time, but like overall, this is the most damaging for a Thunderhammer build, and really any build you're going to be using, because the block hammer just hits ridiculously hard, and I'll set up this way for hard stratagems, or if you want to go all the way into Extremis damage, you could build up this way with Extremis Slayer, but that is up to you. As far as the power axe is concerned, block and fencing are quite strong. I would set up the block axe this way, and for the fencing axe, I would just go up the top tree instead, all the way down here to things like restoration, and pick up stuff like tactical retreat instead, because the top tree is just way better for fencing, thanks to perk effects here like power strike, which gives you 20% more damage from a gun strike power stance. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about for the Assault class. I'll put more builds for this in the corner up here. And really, if you want to take a sniper, heavy, or anything else, you totally can. It's really not going to be that hard at all, but these are just ones I wanted to recommend today because I think they're pretty fun. I think that the synergy is quite decent, but hopefully this guide helped you. I don't think this weekly is that bad at all. I doubt most players are going to have a huge problem with the ballistic engine mission here at the Battlefield Conditions. Come prepared, because having 30 stims on your team is a lot, but you know, everybody plays at a different skill level. Not everybody is just going to like run through this mission casually, even with 30 stims, and a lot of players are just trying to get 200 accolades. And if you need help with this weekly, I will be streaming at some point this week, and I will be helping every viewer I can get their weekly for their 200 accolades. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say in this one. As always, thank you for watching. A big thank you to my channel members, and take it easy, guys. Bye.